In my opinion, the M1 rifle is the greatest battle implement ever devised. General George S. Patton, January 26, 1945. The M1 Garand was developed by John C. Garand in the 1930s and was adopted by the U.S. military by 1936. This rifle was chambered in the famous .308 caliber. Although it might not have been the first semi-automatic rifle, it was the first semi-automatic rifle issued to general infantry. A weapon bred for war, the M1 Garand saw combat in World War II, Korea, and parts of Vietnam. Sadly, by 1958, the M1 Garand was being replaced by its more up-to-date counterpart, the M14. Unfortunately, this is where the Garand story comes to an end in military history. How's it going, everybody? I'm UpNorth Airsoft, and today we'll be looking at the ICS M1 Garand. Garand? I hope you guys like that intro. I'm kind of experimenting a little bit with my intros. If you guys want to see more of those, just put them in the comments. I'd like to know. But enough about that, let's get into this unboxing. Starting off, you're going to be greeted with the M1 Garand itself with a couple things inside, kind of like this old school speed loader. Yeah, who actually still uses those? I guess I shouldn't be surprised with a rifle that came out about 7 years ago though. Or was it 8 years? Anywho, inside the box you are going to get some extra fuses. It's sweet to know that ICS threw some of these in here. It might be something that we don't need right away, but eventually we might need to replace those fuses. Next has got to be one of the best things to ever get whenever you buy a gun, is an extra magazine. The only company I can think of that throws in an extra magazine has to be Arcturus with some of their AK lineups. And finally, the M1 Garand itself, in all of its wood and steel beauty. If you've never held an ICS before, these things are just built like a tank. A lot of care and attention to detail went into this rifle. I have to say, ICS does know how to make a rifle, and when you hold this thing, nothing moves or bends on this thing. But let me show you the externals of the Garand itself. Starting from the back, you are going to get a full-size wooden stock. From personal experience and from other people I let use this rifle, they say that this stock feels great in the shoulder. Battery connections are also going to be in the stock, and it normally comes with a small type Tamiya connection. ICS also gave you plenty of room to put almost any size battery you can put in here. Your magazine release is going to be on the left side of the gun. Just give it a little push and it'll fall freely. Well, let's talk about this magazine real quick. This is a mid-cap magazine that holds about 42 rounds in it, but you can also buy ones that can only hold about 20. And fortunately, the only kind of magazines these take are the ICS M1 Garands. They're not universal with the A&K or the G&G mags. One thing that does kind of bug me is when I put the magazine back in, there's nothing that clicks for me that lets me know the magazine's sitting in there tightly. It just sits in there. Getting to your hop-up is really easy. All you gotta do is just pull back on the bolt right here and it shows you your rotary style hop-up. Also up top, you are going to get some of these engravings right here behind the iron sights. Speaking of iron sights, you are going to get the usual M1 sights, with the left side dealing with elevation and the right side moving your aperture to left or right. Keep this in mind, if you get this rifle, the dials right here on the side are going to be pretty stiff to get at first, but with a little bit of force they'll break in. Finally, to round out this rifle, you get What I meant to say was, to round out this rifle, you are going to get a bayonet lug and your orange tip. Like I said, the externals are pretty nice and well made, but how about the internals? Well, you'll be dealing with a 6mm to 8mm hybrid metal bearing gearbox, and a short type motor. FPS wise, the M1 Garand is shooting around 400 to 60 FPS with a .20 gram BB. My personal opinion, I wouldn't be putting 20 gram BBs in here. I would use maybe as low as 2 8s and no higher than 32s. But the real question is, how does it shoot? Well, for me, it shoots really well. I put a 11.1 LiPo in there, even though it recommended a 7.4. I didn't have any feeding issues, and it fed every single BB out of the magazine. But I can tell you this, that this thing has pretty good range on it, especially with that really long barrel. Here's my final thoughts on the ICS M1 Garand. It's a really well made rifle, the internals are great, and there's not too much to complain about. This is especially an eye catcher on the field, especially if you go out in a World War II kit. So if you're looking to be the unique one at the field or a good collector's piece, this is definitely a great choice for you. So if you want to pick up an ICS M1 Garand, you can get one up at evike.com or Airsoft GI. I think that's going to wrap it up for this video, so if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, and if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe. I'm thinking for 2021, I got a couple things planned out. But other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.